This is a quick crypto market update. I'm looking at now through the upcoming full moon on December the 4th. With the new moon energies that we're still under and Uranus and Neptune energies that are still active, it is too early to review the full cycle. So I just wanted to give this information to you, and I'll be answering some questions that I have seen and people have been asking towards the end. I was going to do a live stream today, but I wanted to get my information out there in a clear, concise manner. I know I would be all over the place if I did this live. If you are watching this now, I am in the comments. Looking at the information, looking at the charts, again, relooking with our Mercury retrograde. I'm seeing that the challenges are going to continue through the full moon on December the 4th. There's a few reasons for that. Uranus. Uranus is coming into an opposition with Lilith in Taurus to 28 degrees. This 28 degrees is very important this cycle as well. I did not make a note of that, but it is. There's a lot of planets at the ending degrees of the charts, between 27 and 29 degrees. That could be something that is signaling this downward shift as well. But Uranus opposite Lilith, that could be influencing this cycle. From now through the full moon. Mars will be in challenging transits from two outer planets from now through the full moon. After the full moon, it will still be in some challenging transits to outer planets. This is something that I have to come relook at, so that's why I'm only looking up until this full moon. The North Node. That is something that is also challenging us from now through the full moon. During this new moon, Mars was in a square to the North Node. This could be what initially has set everything off, possibly. But North Node and challenging the North Node's energies is a pattern that's going to be repeating until the full moon, even past the full moon, but I'm only going up to the full moon. So on November 23rd, Mars will be in this exact square to the North Node. That's been building since the new moon. On December the 4th, the Sun and the Moon will be in a square to the North Node at the same degrees of where the North Node is now, at this 14 degrees. This is going to, I feel it's going to continue to echo the new moon's energies. Tomorrow is the 23rd. I'm recording this on the 22nd. So I feel it is the weekend, but I feel this will be challenging. And hence continuing through this full moon. Now, if the November the 23rd turns the energy around, then I would say, obviously, the market's back in the green and the pattern is broken. But I do not see that. 23rd, Mars and squaring the North Node, very challenging. Full moon, challenging, squaring this North Node, continuing that pattern of challenge. On December the 5th, the Sun will square the North Node in Sagittarius at 13 degrees. It's a different degree. It's not the 14 degrees anymore, but it's still squaring that North Node. And on the 5th, that's the day after this full moon, so that will have a strong influence. On December 11th, Venus is squaring the North Node. That will not likely be a strong direct effect on the full moon. And we can have challenges continuing after the full moon via the Venus squaring this North Node on the 11th. And Venus opposite to Lilith on the 9th as well. I know I wanted to just stop at the full moon, but let me just go over this quickly. Mars during this Uranus opposite Lilith and Taurus at 28 degrees. This 28 degrees is important. It's the end. It's getting towards the ending of a sign. Neptune is at 29 degrees right now of Pisces. The ending degrees have seemed to also be having this effect, a negative effect on the markets. That's how I'm seeing it. Mars will be in a square to Saturn and Neptune during this transit on December the 9th. That in itself is also very challenging. And planets that are challenging Uranus or Lilith do seem to have a challenging effect. So I actually see this continuing through the 9th. Okay, so this is just the 23rd quickly. Why I also see it as challenging, because the kite pattern that was also still during the new moon will also still be present. Again, this energy is repeating, going over, redoing. Mercury is still retrograde. I'm trying to stay on track and it's very hard to. I'm trying to use my notes as well. So Mars North Node, tension in the market. This happens on the 23rd. Mercury is retrograde. Uranus, sudden downward trends continuing to possibly push the market down. I do not know how far. I do not know if it will continue to have as much of a downward momentum as we had during the new moon, but it will be negative and continue to stay in the negative. It could go down or just stay negative, not dropping, down to, $0. It will be challenging though. So we could still be on, we will likely be on this downward trajectory, but it might not be as sharp as during this new moon that we just had. This was Bitcoin's chart. I was just taking a look just to compare them. What's going on now? Why is this happening? Uranus is also in a square to Bitcoin's Neptune, Bitcoin's Venus. Venus is extraordinarily important. Uranus is retrograde, so it's moving backwards, so it will begin to ease this tension. I don't think this could be the direct cause, but I think it's Mars is one of the main factors of this right now, of this challenge, of the cycle. November 29th, Mercury will go direct. The 27th, Saturn will go direct. These two dates are possibilities of when the market could begin to show signs of rebirth, relife, coming back into positive. These are just two key dates. I feel like the markets up until or even a little bit past that full moon, we're still going to have this downward trend, still going to be in the negative zone. But we could start to see, again, signs of life. The market's starting to maybe shift or look back to becoming more positive, starting to climb its way back out of the hole that it's in. This is general transits. This is just Bitcoin's transits. And there are some positive things going on. It's just Mars and the North Node, and Mars, I feel like are having strong influences right now. So the full moon is in Gemini, is at 13 degrees. And again, it's going to be challenging with the sun squaring the North Node as well. Mars is also coming into a square with Saturn on the 8th, 7654. That could also be challenging this market. Neptune does go direct on the 10th though. But again, I'm really only going up to those full moon. So you do even see this being a challenge after the full moon, maybe even through the 8th. But again, when Mercury goes stations direct, that could be a pivoting point in the market. If that does not occur, I see it being challenging through even December the 9th, possibly the 10th. But the 9th will stay safe. That's not to say that it's going to be continuing to move down to $0. That's not it. It's just going to stay in this negative overall trajectory. So that's what I'm seeing, guys. I know it's not the best news. So I just wanted to answer some questions. Will BTC go down below 30,000? I personally do not see that. But anything that can happen will happen in crypto. So it's not off the table, but I personally do not see that occurring. How low will we go? I don't know. The astrology doesn't show me the numbers. It just shows me the direction of the market. And sometimes when there's severe crashes, all-time highs too, but I find those are harder to find in the charts. I feel like the crashes are easier to spot. So I do not know how low we will go. I do not know how, looking up until the full moon and even a little bit past it through December the 9th, I feel we will be in this downward negative trajectory. When will BTC go back up over 100,000? That is a $100,000 question. I don't know. And it feels like I have a lot of these I don't knows, but I don't. The crypto market can suddenly turn around and just shoot right back up. I don't see that right now. Like I said, I'm looking up until this full moon and I don't see it happening by the full moon, December the 4th. It could start coming back up and by December the 4th, if there is no pivot in the market, then I do not see it going back up over $100,000. Around Mercury stationing direct on the 29th and the 27th, when Saturn stations direct, if there is no pivot or we could see a clear, sharp turnaround in the market, or let me rephrase that, if there's not any news and information that's coming out before December the 1st, and before the new moon, the full moon on the 4th, I see this continuing in this downward direction and not being back over 100,000. But again, the market can move very quickly. So around the 27th, 26th, coming up this week, look for information in the news that will give you the signal if it's going back over 100,000. What could that be? Something with tariffs, possibly. Something with the Fed, interest rates. Mostly, I would look at the financial market news. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll let you know when I'm going live next. I try to keep it on Saturdays for crypto, so probably next Saturday. And I hope that was as clear and concise as possible, because let me tell you, it was difficult to stay on track the way I did. I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and share.